Alright, if you've been following along on this build, you know we are just about done with this door, and the last thing to do is paint, hinges, and doorknob. So right now I am prepping the door for the hinges. I'm cutting it to its final width, and I have the blade tilted about a degree off center, so that way when the door closes, that little bit of beveled angle will allow the door to close past the jamb without binding. Alright, so it is time to mortise out for the hinges. I have it set up in this little shop-made jig here to hold it upright in position to make it easy to hinge. And I do have a commercial jig that will lay out the hinge locations, but since I'm transferring from the existing jamb, which is going to stay in place, we're just putting this door in the existing jamb. It's kind of a pain to line up with the existing jamb and set it all up. So I just have this this guy here that I made. It's just a shop-made template of the hinge shape, and I'm just going to set it up here in position and route it out that way. All right, I went out to the client's house, and I held my story stick up to the jamb and transferred the hinges from the jamb onto this stick. And then I'm going to use this stick to transfer the location of the hinges in the jamb onto the door here. Alright, my combination square is set up with about an 1/8 inch offset there, so it's basically offsetting my story stick by about an 1/8 of an inch, so it'll create an 1/8 inch reveal around the door, so when the door opens and closes, it won't rub the jamb. Alright, and to make sure I'm as accurate as possible, when I was out at the client's house, I used my marking knife to mark the hinge location on the story stick, and then I'm using a marking knife to transfer that line from the story stick onto the door itself. So hopefully there'll be no room for error there. Alright, I got my jig clamped in place on the first hinge location. I'm going to bottom out the router here till it just touches the workpiece. And then I'm going to use the hinge to set the depth. There we go. Nice flush fit. Alright, the door handle the client picked out has a nice little template that it came with, so I got that positioned on the door and taped down. And this guy is just one of those standard templates for drilling out the door for the deadbolt and the handle. So it comes with the appropriate size drill bits and sizes and stuff you need in there. So I'm going to drill this guy out, and we should be getting really close to getting paint on this guy. Alright, I only drilled through until the pilot bit, this pilot bit came through, and then I'm going to drill from this side now, that way there's no tear out, and hopefully they'll meet up nicely in the middle. I'll just move it down to this side and do the same thing. Alright, now for this handle type, I have one more hole to drill through for this bottom piston here, or this bottom post. Same thing, I just drilled it till the little tip of the brad point started to poke through, and then I came in from the other side. All right, they sell these jigs that go on here to route out for the door post, but unfortunately I lost the spacer that goes in it. So I'm just gonna chisel this out by hand since I only have 2 of them to do. I think I can chisel them out by hand faster than going to the store to get another one of these. All right, the start of a good inlay job is using a marking knife, not a pencil. That marking knife is going to do 2 things for you. It's going to give you a line that's cut into the wood to drop your chisel into so you have good registration, and also it is very thin, so it's very accurate compared to the thickness of a pencil line. Alright, when I gently tap on that, it's almost flush. But when I gently tap on that, it's going to mark the wood. I'm going to see little bruises in there to where I need to eliminate a little bit of wood. So there's a little bit on this edge, so I can see where it crushed the fibers. And that tells me where I need to remove more wood at. Alright, I'm pretty satisfied with how that looks. Alright, I just got to do that one. Alright, the hinges are done, the locks are done, so it's time to paint the frame. And this S curve down the center of the door is going to get painted black, and so I need to mask off the walnut and the copper. So to follow this curve, I'm basically putting painter's tape on the curve itself and then cutting it off with the razor blade and using the piece that I cut off to mask onto the walnut itself. So that way I can follow the curve perfectly. All right, I'm all masked off. I am not going to film the painting process because I'm going to use a spray gun and I don't want the overspray to get on the camera. So I'm just going to take this into my spray booth, spray it, and that'll be black when we're done. All right, the paint is dry, and so now I'm going to just go around here with a razor blade and trace around the corners to break the paint line between the wood and the painter's tape to make sure I don't peel up into that freshly painted surface, and we'll see how awesome this looks, or at least hopefully it'll look awesome. All right, there's the finished copper door.